Okay, cool. So in your previous classes, what we discussed was we have created our first Java code and we were able to successfully run our first Java code. I see there is a small mistake here. Let me update it. Okay, so what we have done is we have just created our very first Java code and we were able to print some values onto the string. So this is where we stopped. So we were able to do that. So today, what we'll do is, you see, the main purpose of building any application or writing some code is to make our work easier. So let us try to create a small code where we are able to add two numbers and print the output. So it's just a very simple step towards our larger goal. So we should be in a position where we can write complex codes, but the starting step for that is let us try to just add two numbers and try to what is that print those output of those numbers. Okay, so that is about this. So in order to do that, let me do one thing. So let me just even before I do that, let me open my notepad. So I'm just writing something on the notepad. So let me take a new one. So here it is. So I'm just writing one thing here. So just try to analyze what your mind is doing in this case. Okay. Now post that I am writing a city name from where I'm from. So I'm just writing it as Karnool. And I'm just typing my gender. There is nothing but male. So you guys are smart enough, your brain is smart enough, so it will try to understand that, okay, this is a number and this is a word. So let me write that. So this is a number and this is your word, okay. And your brain will see this as an alphabet, okay, alphabet. But in Java, if you directly write anything this sort, like if you directly write your number or city name wherever you're from and whatever gender is yours, it can be male or female. So what will happen is Java will not understand. So it will not understand what is this, either this is a number or this is a word or this is an alphabet. So in order to overcome that problem in Java, we have something called data types. Okay, we have something called data types. So what is this data types and how it helps? So whenever you're trying to store something, so there is a word called variable. So variable is a thing that is used to store the values. Say for example, if I'm telling you to store this number as my age, okay, your brain process it and will store. If I'm telling you to store your brain, my city name is Karnool, okay, and I'm telling it as gender. So you are just storing this value inside a variable. Okay, currently I'm in Karnool. I may move to Hyderabad, so I should get updated. So variable is nothing but the name itself says that vary. So there are different types of variables. I don't want to confuse you now. So I'm just keeping it to limiting to data types. So my main goal is to just talk about data types. Okay, so let us look into that. So now, if you want to store any number or anything, you need to first tell what is the type of that. So if you want to store age, so you should tell that yes, this is an integer. So I'm just telling, okay, I need to give that keyword as int, a Java keyword, then post that I should give the name of the variable and what is the value I am trying to store inside that. I am storing it as age. So next time, so if you want to store any number in Java, you can't directly go and write it as number here. So there are certain syntaxes. So Java will understand if you're telling it as int, okay, then it will understand yes int. Now let me copy this onto the Eclipse itself so that it is easy for you people. Okay. So there are many errors because this is not following the syntax. Okay, just comment it out. So if you are giving the comment, that will not read that line. Okay, the way to comment is just give double forward slash. Okay, we were talking about data types, right? Okay, so if you could see the error is gone now. So int age is equals to 8. Now Java understand that, okay, I need to store an integer value of 8 and I need to store inside a variable called age. So in your childhood, you don't remember, right? X is equals to 10, Y is equals to 10, something like that. So similar to that thing. Now, if you want to store any word in Java, instead of word, we'll be telling it as a string. okay, string. And what is that? City name. So if you want to store any word that is known as string in Java, you should make sure that you are writing that word inside double parenthesis. Okay, so just write it as kernel. Okay, this is how you can store it in your now you have successfully stored a string called kernel, and you have stored it inside a variable called city name. If you want your city name to get printed at any point of time, or if you want to use this value, you can just use this city name as the reference. Yeah. So if you want to store some value in a string, just give it as double quotes. So just double quotes inside the double quotes, whatever you want to store, give it in a double quote. Now next thing is I want to store a single alphabet. If you want to store a single alphabet, again there is a keyword in Java that is nothing but char. Okay, I'm storing gender is equals to, give single quote this time. So this is how you can what is that use different data types. Okay, if you want to store a number, give it as int. If you want to store a word, give it as a string. If it is a number, give it as int, and if it is a alphabet, we will be treating it as character. Char. Okay, chr char. So let me print this. So now I am printing age. Okay, next thing is let me print city name. Just write city name. Okay, just type CISO and control space and then enter. These are shortcuts. Okay, we will slowly learn the shortcuts as well. So gender. Okay, so let me uh, remove this piece of code what we have written previously. So now what I have done is I have used different data types. One is integer, one is string, one is char, and let me print them. Super. So if you could see, if I want to print I'm able to print age, I'm able to print a city name, and I'm able to print my gender as well. So this is how you can simply what is that uh, use different data types. Okay, now in continuation to this, assume that I am telling you to add two numbers. Okay, assume that I am telling you to add two numbers. So instead of writing all the things here, right, let me do one thing. This is getting clumsy, right? So let me do one thing. So let it be here itself, and let me write for addition. Let me create another piece of method where you are handling your addition part. Okay, this is just for the data types, right? So let me create another method. How to create another method? It's very simple. Just use the keywords public. For now, don't try to understand what is this public, static, void. There are many things we'll learn slowly. Okay, void. So I'm using the method name as addition. Give this, then flower brackets open, flower brackets close. So I have successfully created a new method. So this is your new method. Whatever code you want to write inside this method, write within this flower brackets. Let me open this. Just I'm giving two values. Int a is equals to 10 and int b is equals to 20. Now if you're adding two numbers, obviously you'll get a number, right? So just int sum is equals to a plus b. Okay, now let me print the output. So I'm just printing the output. Let us try to run this program, and so there are two methods here. One is your main method, so this piece of code should get executed, and there is another method called addition. We are just assuming that after main method this piece of code will also get executed. Let us try to run this. Oh my God. So to our surprise, we see that we are not able to run this program. Reason? If you could remember my words, what I was telling is Java will only run the piece of code that is present inside the main block. So for now, just try to understand in layman terms. But your code is present in some other method. So if you want to run the code that is present in another method, or if you want to run this piece of method or piece of code that is present inside this method, it's pretty simple. Just inside this main method, call that method name whichever you want to run. So if you could see now, the previous output was only 8 kernel and m, right? If you run now, you should see another thing entry here with some called 30. Okay, let us run this. Superb. So this piece of code has run first. After that, inside the main method, you are calling another method called addition. So now Java, what it will do, it will go to the method called addition and it will run the piece of code that is present inside the addition method. Okay, cool. So now what you guys can do is just similarly create another method called subtraction and try to create multiple methods and try to call them. So I'm just doing it as subtraction. So let me change the names here, subtraction, right? SUB, and I also need to print SUB only. Okay, because is A minus B. Let me run this. Now it will, what will happen? It will only print these things again. Why? Why it is not printing subtraction? Because you're not calling that method inside the main block. So let me call that as well, subtraction. Okay, now let me run this program. Okay, so 10 minus 20 is minus 10. Superb. So this guy is creating bit problem, right? It is bit clumsy for me to understand. Let us do one thing. Let me create another method here. So public static void data types. So we have not uh, deep dived into data types. We'll be having another session. I'll talk about there. Okay, so let me just copy this piece of code and paste it here. See, now if I want, I can write all this piece of code inside the main block, but that is looking odd and it is difficult for me to execute. So now let me call the method name called data types. So I can control which method I want to call from the main method. So now if I run this, it is printing all the things. First thing is it is printing the data types. So don't, the reason why I have done this is most of the people will assume that first this will run, then next. Now it will never be like that. It will always go to the main method. First you are calling data types, so it is printing the piece of code that is present in the data types. Next you are calling addition, so it is printing addition, that is nothing but this method. Then this method, if you want, what I can do is I'll just remove this. I'm not calling data types now. If I run this, just hold on for a second, just try to tell me what would be the output. Just pause this video for a moment and check what should be the output. Okay, good. So let us see what is the output. It is 30 and minus 10. Why? Because you are calling addition first, so only this piece of code got executed. Then you are calling subtraction, only this piece of code got executed. So that's the beauty of calling different using different data types. For now we have used only three data types: int, string and char. So let us solve one problem. Let us try to calculate the average age of three students, and let us see what are the problems we are facing and if there is any other data type that we can make use of. Thank you guys.